Hi there, I'm Cheryl, and today I'm going to show you how to make this card. And this actually isn't a card because I never put a back on it. We'll put a back on it when we do our card though. But yeah, I've got some good tips to share with you too on this one. So this is what we're going to need. We need a piece of Whisper White Thick cardstock, 7 by 10 inches, and then scored at 5 inches, and that'll fit a regular 5 by 7 envelope. I've got another little piece here that I've cut with my Tim Holtz 3D border die here. And if you hear that scratching, that's my cats. They're not allowed in here while I'm videoing. It's just me and the doggy. And this embosses and cuts all at the same time. And I've already cut my piece right here. It does a nice job of both cutting and embossing. And it comes with directions on the inside here how to use it with your Big Shot or whatever this is, the Tim Holtz cutting thing. I can't think of the name of it. Okay, and then we need some more Whisper White Thick cardstock here. It's a 5 by 3 piece, or it would be if I put them all together. We're going to be using, let's see, let me dig it out here. Some of these Heartfelt Creations stamps and dies. We're using the flowers and then just part of the branch, just like from here over. Let me bring that up a little closer. Just from here over where the 2 leaves are here, we're just going to cut that off right there and just use that little section of it. So I have the die set to cut those out also. And yeah, leafy branches, that cuts the flowers. Birds and blooms, that's the stamps. And then birds and blooms cuts the branch out, and you can also cut little birds and things. It's a really nice little set, as are most of the Heartfelt Creation sets. Okay, so we have those. Then I have another paper strip here that I'll be using to cut the little tag for the front. And I have a good tip for that. We'll be using this Fiskars Tag Punch. I forget the exact name of it, but I'll have that listed down in the materials below. So we'll be using this. And well, let me go over this a little bit right now. You notice on here we can punch a tag like this. We can punch a tag like that. So we can just put our paper in there. Let me get that in there. And there we go. So we can have 2 nice little tags like this. It also has on the end here, there's a slot. You can slide this in. And you gotta kind of wiggle it in there and get it all the way in. I think I got it all the way. And it will cut a hole perfectly centered. And then on this side, it's a grommet setter. You can set a grommet in there also. But these are kind of limited. They're pretty small. So what we're going to be doing is once I stamp my sentiment on, we're going to feed this in. Let me get that in there. It takes a little wiggling and a little work to do this. And my strip might be just a tiny bit big. But now, see, I can cut just one end. I can cut both ends. I can use this tag with both ends on it. I can make it as long or as short as I want. So I can get a lot more different looks out of just this one stamp, or this one punch, doing it that way. Okay, so we've got our strip that we're going to be using. The stamps that I'm using is something I got from a place called AliExpress, and it has a lot of cute little things. A hibiscus, a lily, a little frog, palm branch has some nice sentiments on it. I'll be using a little Birdie Told Me on the outside, and on the inside it'll be It's Your Birthday. And let me pull that out right now while I'm thinking about it. Just sit that over there. Okay, so we're going to be using that. Okay, so back to all this stuff here. I already did some pre-cutting. I cut out this, I don't know what you'd call it, this tag with the decorative edges on it. And this is in rose red. You need a 4x6 piece of that. And I used the Spellbinders Card Creator. This is A2 Divine Eloquence. And it's this die right here I used for that. And we'll be altering this also. And from Heartfelt Creations, I'm using some of their pattern paper. This is from the Birds in Bloom collection paper stack. And I'll show you where these came from. Okay, there's a sheet of paper, and it's got stripes on the bottom, this floral images on the top, and then it has the border of flowers. And I cut mine out right from here. So I have a little bit of the stripes, a little bit of the flowers on the top, and then I have that nice floral border. And if I want to now, I can make another card that has the stripes and the flowers on it. I can flip it over. I can use these on cards. These little panels here are so pretty that Heartfelt Creations has. You could make a card with just their pattern paper. No stamps, no nothing, because look, see this one? This has all these beautiful sentiments on it. You can just cut out a sentiment and put it on your card. So this one here, we're going to be cutting out in the circle, just this little bird. Let me move that. And it came from this piece of paper. Okay, so that's what it looks like on this side. And that's what it looks like on this side. Okay, so they have a lot that are oriented for the 12x12 scrapbooking people too. But I would just use pieces of it. I mean, look how pretty that would be. I could cut it like right there and have this on my card. Yeah, they have some really nice cardstocks, I have to say. Okay, then I have another piece of rose red here. And this is, oh dear, I don't think I wrote it down. Wait, this might be the 4x6 one. Yep, this is 4. Yep, this is 4x6. This one, you need a piece that's at least 5 inches by 3. And that's a very tight fit. Okay, and then I have a piece of it's a Granny Apple Green, and this is 7x5. Okay, I'm using my layering Circles Framelites dies. This is the largest circle in the group, and I'll keep that out because I'll need that. And then from Petal palette, they have this lovely little dotted border here, and we'll be using that all around the edge of our cards. So, and some markers. Be using Garden Green and Crumb Cake. I have sponge daubers and a makeup sponge and my Aqua Painter with water in it. And the inks we'll be using are the Memento Tuxedo Black, and you notice I store it this way. That keeps the ink on the top edge of the ink pad. If you store it this way, it all drains down to the bottom, and it may not be inked as well as you think it is, or as well as you think it should be. Okay, we're using Sweet Sugarplum, which is a retired color, and that's what I used to stamp my flowers. If you have another pretty pink, a cool pink color, you could use that instead. I'm using Lemon Lime Twist, Rich Razzleberry, and Garden Green. Then, off to the side here, I have some trash. I have a piece here of a cereal box. And I have a bit here from a package that I got and something delivered to me in the mail. And we are going to use those today instead of using dimensionals. Yep, I figure if I can save a little money and use some stuff I was going to throw away anyway, although we do recycle here, and I don't have to buy dimensionals, well then I can take that money and I can buy other stuff. So we're going to use trash on our card. You're not going to see it anyway, so why not? Alright, let's start out. Let's do the tag first. I have my stamp, little birdie told me, I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'll ink that up. And I'm going to give myself about 1 inch in from the side. Most of that's going to be cut off. But just to make sure I have plenty. And there we go. There's my stamp. That came out nicely. I'm just going to set the lid on top because we'll do the inside of the card next. Okay, so now I'll take my punch. I'm going to feed this in. Let's see. How far can I go? Not very. So I'll trim off some of this. I trim off about so much. Just cut that off. Now feed that back in. And that's a little bit too far. Let me get that. So there's a nice little space there. I'll get myself about 1/4 inch between the sentiment and the edge there. I'll cut that. Now I could cut this side with it, but you know what? That's going to get tucked underneath. So I'm just going to trim that. So see, now I have, instead of having that on both ends, I can have it with just a flat edge, straight edge on it. Okay. So I did sponge the edges of that with my Sweet Sugarplum. So let's get that done now too. This just adds a little something to it. We could put it on just with the white tag, but somehow it just doesn't look finished to me unless I sponge the edge a little with a, with a color that's in the card. Okay, so we got that done. And where did my card base go? Here it is. There's my card base. We'll stamp the sentiment on the inside of my card base. And that stamp block was way too big, so I'm going to swap out my little birdie told me for It's Your Birthday. And I'll ink that stamp up. And stamp it right there in the center. And there we go. We have the inside done. If you wanted to, you could add a little bird in there. I thought about it, and then I discarded the idea. But there's cute little birds on your in the stamp set. Lost my train of thought there. Okay, so let's do our pattern, our Granny Apple Green. And there's my little border stamp. That's one of the Stampin' Up ones. I'm going to stamp that then with Garden Green, because these are all colors that show up in this. Okay, so we're just going to stamp our little dots all along the edge. And I could use some closer to the edge too there. Okay. I'll just go all around. This is the only bit that's going to show. And if you wanted to conserve on paper, you could actually cut the middle of that out and keep that for some other project. I'm going to leave it in though. Okay, so that will get attached to the card base. And let's see. This little bit here, that's going to get cut right down the middle. I'm just going to use my scissors. And our little border die cut will also get cut right down the middle. So those can go there with our little tag for the front. And let's get these in here and we'll color these up. I'm going to do the branch of the tree first with my crumb cake marker. And I'm not doing any kind of special shading on this. Just coloring in the branch. And up into the stems. You can shoot it up into the leaves a little bit too if you want. I want to, so I'm going to. Okay. And then we'll go on to color the leaves. So I started out with the lemon lime twist. And I'm just going to shade those, just color them in with the sponge dauber. Then I'll switch to the garden green. Yeah, I invested in a set of sponge daubers. They came in a nice little case. Let me grab it real quick. They came in a nice little case like this, and I have all my sponge daubers labeled now. I have all these labeled with all the colors, the base Stampin' Up colors. So now I don't have to wash my sponge daubers out every time I use them. Okay, so there's my garden green. I'm just gonna Get a little bit of that on the end, or just on the edge here, because I don't want to cover the whole leaf with it. I want some of that lemon lime to show. Just don't want to get it onto the flowers, that's the only thing. Okay. So now we can color the flowers in. I'm going to use the rich Razzleberry for that. I was attempting to match. I wanted my flowers that I was going to be using to match the flowers that are on the little bird panel here. So that's why I'm using the rich Razzleberry. That's a pretty intense color. So we're going, oh, I don't want to open that all the way. I want to use the palette here. And to get your ink on the top here, just close it up and give that a good squeeze, and it will put ink onto the lid here. Let me wipe that up so I don't get garden green and lemon lime twist where I don't want it. So I'll use my Aqua Painter. And like I said, we don't want this to be too dark. As a matter of fact, I'm going to test it over here on this little scrap of paper. Okay, that looks pretty good. So from the center of my flower, I'm just going to go just out from the center. Pick up a little bit more of the color. Okay, so those are finished. Those will be underneath. And then we need 3 more. We don't need all 6 of these. Pick up just a little more color. Want the edges to be just a little pink, so I'm daubing it off on the side here and just pulling out a little bit more of that pink. Okay, so one more. I could use a little more color in the center, I think. So we'll just put a little bit more. Just daub that in the center, and there we go. They don't all have to be exactly the same. As a matter of fact, it looks a little bit more interesting if they are not. Okay, so I'll clean my Aqua Painter out. So those are ready now. That I can cut those out. And I can die cut my little bird. And I'll put that on here. Just like this. And I'll hold it in place when I die cut this with just a little bit of tape. And then I'll still have this outside part. I could use that another time. That would be beautiful on just a card by itself. So that will be kept in my little pack of papers, and I'll be right back. Okay, on to shaping the flowers. And I forgot to tell you, I'm going to be using a ball stylus. If you don't have a ball stylus and a flower shaping mat like I have here, you can use 2 layers of craft foam and a Sharpie marker or a mouse pad instead of this. You know what? I'll use the Sharpie so I can show you how easy this is to shape the flowers. And I'm just going to use this big end here. I'm just going to use that to cup the flower petals up a little bit. And that is our shaping. These flowers don't use a whole, you don't need to be shaped a whole lot. And I'm just going to poke it in the center, poke it in the center, poke it in the center. And they're ready to go. I have my little branch here, and before I'm done with that, I'm going to take my garden green marker, and I'm just going to go all along around the edges of these leaves. Oops, I went out onto the leaf a little bit there, so let me add a little bit more. No mistakes, just crafting opportunities. And let's just get those all done real quick here. I'll take my scissors, and here on the trunk, right where it V's out, I'm just going to cut that at a little angle, and these will go right on top here now. And we're ready to actually now to put the card together. Okay, so I've got my bird die cut. I've got my piece of trash here. I have my little embossed border things. I have my die cut here that I've cut in half. And I have my tag and all my layers here for my card. So let me put this piece down first. So just use any glue or tape that you feel like using. I'm just using my tacky glue because it was handy. I use Tombow a lot. I like Tombow. I like the dries clear glue. There we go. That helps to line the card up, by the way, if you stand it up like that. Get everything lined up. And I've already pasted my piece, glued my piece of my cereal box on the back here. So I'll put glue on there. That will pop that up. And I also glued the piece of cardstock. Let me make sure I'm opening it right. Okay, that's good. And just center that on the card. And see, you can't see the trash anymore. It's hidden away between the cardstock and the cardstock here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to put our two little border pieces on. And they will go right along the top here, lined up with the edge of this lighter, the pattern paper. And they will not meet in the middle. That's why we cut them in half. So we'll put that piece on here. Oop, gonna move that down a little bit. There we go. Okay, see, we got a gap. We have a gap right there. The next we need to put this and this together. So I need to decide how big this piece needs to be, because I want that to just fit my little birdie. And that looks about right. So I'm going to carefully lift up each of these edges and put some glue on there. And lift up that edge. I'll put some glue there. And now we'll put glue on our birdie circle. Well, you know what I didn't do? I didn't sponge the edge of this cardstock. On my sample card, I sponged the edge of the cardstock here with the garden green also. So, and get our little birdie how we want them. Let's see. Let's tip them a little bit this way. Alright. And we're going to pop that up using our other piece of trash. We'll put some glue on there. Put it right in the center. Put some glue on here. And it's ready to go onto our card. And that goes right at the top here. This is going to cover where our border piece does not meet up at the top. So you need that right at the top here. Oop. There we go. And our little branch. We'll get some glue on the back there, just put it on the stem. And that will come down just along the edge here, like so. Oop, get in there. Get on there. Tacky glue takes a little bit longer to dry. And on each of our flowers, we'll put a little dab of glue on the back of them. And they will go on each of our little flowers on the branch. And I'm going to put them on so that they're offset from the flowers underneath. So the petals are offset. So there those are. And I should wait for this glue to dry, but I can't think of enough things to talk about, and this will go underneath here. I want to be able to see all of the sentiment, but I'm going to trim this down a little bit so that fits underneath there a little better. Okay, because I don't want it to hang off the edge of the card. So right about there looks good to me. So I'll just put some glue here on this and slip that back under. Right now, where was that little spot I found before? Ah, right there. And our card is finished. Now, if there are any Stampin' Up products that I've used that you'd like to purchase, then that would be wonderful if you used me as your demonstrator. If you'd like to take a look at my blog or my Facebook page, that information's listed down below too. I put some things on my blog sometimes that aren't, that don't get posted anyplace else. So you might want to take a look at that once in a while. What else do I need to tell you? Oh, if you liked this video, then be sure to hit the like button down below. And if you'd like to see more videos along this line, then hit that subscribe button, and YouTube will let you know when I put new videos up. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.